I went hiking with my straight friend, but what happened on that mountain still haunts me. The first light of dawn sliced through the pines like a knife through fog, and I swear I could hear my heart pounding before my boots even hit the dirt. Alex here, 28, graphic designer from the sticky streets of Atlanta. The kind of guy who sketches nightmares for a living but can't draw his way out of his own damn feelings. And there was Jordan, my straight-as-an-arrow best friend since college, 27. A park ranger with arms like twisted oak roots and a laugh that could crack open the sky. We were Americans through and through, raised on burgers and Bruce Springsteen, but that morning on the edge of the Smoky Mountains, everything felt foreign, like we'd stepped into someone else's confession. Ready to conquer this beast? Jordan grinned, slapping my shoulder a little too hard, his breath fogging in the crisp October air. The scent of damp earth and pine sap hung heavy, mixing with the faint, bitter edge of his black coffee from the thermos. I nodded, forcing a smile, but inside, my chest tightened like a snare drum. We'd planned this hike for weeks. A weekend escape from the grind, just us two, like old times. But old times were lies I told myself, weren't they? The main conflict, simple as it was brutal. I was in love with him. Had been since that rainy night in our dorm when he crashed on my bed after too many beers. His head on my pillow smelling like soap and secrets. And now, on this mountain, with no one around but the wind whispering through the leaves, I knew one wrong step could send us tumbling off the edge. We started up the trail, gravel crunching underfoot like brittle bones. Jordan led, his ranger's stride easy, backpack slung low on hips that I'd stolen glances at more times than I could count. The sun climbed slow, painting the ridges in strokes of pink and gold, but the chill bit at my skin, raising goosebumps under my flannel. "Remember that time in the frat house?" he called back, voice echoing off the rocks. "When we tried to build that fort out of empty cans and it collapsed on us?" I laughed, the sound ragged in my throat, a sigh slipping out like steam from a kettle. Yeah, I remembered how his body had pinned mine under the debris, warm and solid, his eyes wide with that boyish panic, and for a split second, I hoped he felt it too. The spark, the pull. Birds chattered overhead, sharp cries slicing the quiet, and the air grew thicker with the musk of moss and distant rain. My boots slipped on a loose root, and Jordan's hand shot out, steadying me. His grip was firm, calloused fingers wrapping around my forearm, and time stuttered. "Whoa, easy there, killer," he murmured, close enough that I caught the faint stubble shadow on his jaw, the way his green eyes crinkled at the corners. I pulled away too quick, mumbling thanks, my pulse thundering like a freight train in my ears. What the hell was I doing? This was Jordan. Straight, engaged to that sweet girl from Knoxville, the one who baked pies and called me bro. But feelings don't give a damn about labels, do they? They fester, they climb, they wait for the summit to explode. By midday, we'd hit the first ridge, sweat beading on our brows despite the cool breeze rustling the underbrush. We paused at an overlook, the valley sprawling below like a crumpled green quilt, dotted with tiny farmhouses and winding rivers that glinted like silver veins. Jordan dropped his pack, stretched with a groan that vibrated through me, and pulled out sandwiches wrapped in wax paper. "Turkey on rye, your favorite," he said, tossing one my way. The crinkle of the paper was loud in the hush, and as I bit in, the salty tang hit my tongue, but it was his casual intimacy that choked me. The way he knew me inside out without trying. We sat shoulder to shoulder on a flat rock, legs dangling over the drop, and the silence stretched, heavy with unspoken weight. "You ever think about, I don't know, what if?" His voice was low, almost lost in the wind whipping through the canopy. I froze, bread turning to ash in my mouth. What if what? What if he'd seen the way I looked at him during game nights? Or caught the hitch in my breath when he hugged me goodbye? What if this trail never ends? He finished, chuckling softly, but there was an edge to it, a crack in the armor. Relief flooded me, bitter as the creek water we'd filtered earlier, gurgling nearby over smooth stones. I exhaled slow, the sound ragged, like tearing cloth. Nah, man. We'd starve first. Lies. All lies. But the mountain loomed ahead, steeper now, shadows lengthening as the sun dipped toward afternoon. And deep down, in the pit of my gut where doubts coiled like snakes, I knew the real what-if was coming, the one that would shatter us both. We pushed on, the path narrowing to a knife's edge, ferns brushing our calves with dewy fingers that left wet trails on our jeans. Jordan hummed an old Eagles tune under his breath. Take it easy, the melody floating lazy, but his steps grew heavier, like he was carrying more than gear. I lagged behind, watching the flex of his calves, the way sweat darkened the collar of his tee, and shame burned hot in my cheeks. Get it together, Alex. He's your friend, your straight friend. But the air hummed with tension, electric as a storm brewing over the horizon, thunder rumbling faint in the distance. A squirrel darted across the trail, rustling leaves like frantic whispers, and Jordan startled, laughing it off with a curse. Damn things got more nerve than us. As the light softened to amber, we crested another rise, the air thinning, sharper now with the tang of wild mint crushed underfoot. My lungs burned, each breath a rasp, and I wiped my forehead with the back of my hand, smearing salt and dirt. Jordan glanced back, concern flickering in his eyes. You good? Simple words, but they landed like punches, stirring the ache I'd buried under layers of banter and beers. Yeah. I lied again, voice cracking on the edge. The truth clawed up my throat. No, I'm not good. I'm drowning in you. But I swallowed it down, tasting bile and regret. Nightfall was creeping in, the sky bruising purple, and our campsite waited higher up, a clearing by a stream, where firelight would dance and shadows would hide what we couldn't say. We made camp as stars pricked the velvet dark, the pop of kindling under Jordan's knife echoing like tiny gunshots. He worked efficient, ranger skills shining, stacking wood with hands that moved sure and steady. I pitched the tent, hammering stakes into the soft loam, the metallic tang of earth rising sharp. The stream nearby murmured soft, a lullaby of secrets, and fireflies blinked lazy in the gloam, like faulty memories. Pass the flint, he said, and our fingers brushed. Accidental electric. I jerked back, heart slamming ribs, and busied myself with the cooler, the chill of ice packs seeping through my shirt. Dinner was beans from a can, heated over flames that crackled and spat, sending sparks spiraling up like lost prayers. We ate in the glow, faces ruddy, the heat chasing away the night's bite. Jordan leaned back on his elbows, staring at the flames, and sighed deep, the sound pulling at me like a tide. This is what life's about, huh? No phones, no bullshit. Just us. The word hung, heavy as the smoke curling lazy between us, carrying the woody scent of burning pine. I nodded, throat tight, the fork trembling in my grip. If only he knew how those two letters haunted me, how they'd woven into every sketch I'd drawn late at night, lines blurring into his face. Conversation drifted to easy ground, work gripes, that asshole boss of mine who thought deadlines were suggestions, Jordan stories from the park, like the time he tracked a black bear through laurel thickets, heart pounding as paws thudded close. His voice wove vivid, pulling me in, and I laughed genuine for the first time that day, the sound echoing off the rocks. But then silence fell again, thicker, and his gaze lingered too long on the fire? Or was it on me? The flames danced in his eyes, turning green to gold, and my breath caught, shallow and quick. A log shifted, popping loud, and we both jumped, chuckling awkward. Hit the sack, he suggested, standing with a stretch that pulled his shirt taut across his chest. I mumbled agreement, zipping into the tent first, the nylon whispering shut like a veil. He followed, the space shrinking with his presence, our sleeping bags inches apart on the thin mat. The air inside was close, laced with his scent. sweat and soap and something wild, like the mountain itself. I lay rigid, staring at the tent roof where moonlight filtered through mesh, casting shadows like ghosts. His breathing evened out slow, a rhythm that mocked my racing pulse. Sleep evaded me, thoughts churning. What if I rolled over, just once, and let my hand find his? What if the mountain heard my confession and buried it forever? Hours blurred, the night alive with hoots and rustles. Owls calling mournful, leaves sighing in the breeze. Then, a whisper, "Alex!" His voice, rough with sleep, sliced the dark. I turned, propping on elbow, heart in my throat. "Yeah." Moonlight carved his face in silver, eyes open, searching. "You ever feel like something's gotta give? Like you're holding your breath underwater too long?" The words hung raw, and the air thickened, charged. I swallowed hard, the taste of fear metallic on my tongue. "All the time," I whispered back, voice breaking like thin ice. Silence stretched, taut as a bowstring, and in that moment, the mountain held its breath with us. What happened next? God, if only I'd known it would unravel everything. Dawn's gray fingers clawed at the tent zipper the next morning, and I woke to Jordan's arm slung heavy across my chest, his breath warm against my neck. Panic surged, hot and sharp, like stepping on hot coals barefoot. I froze, every muscle screaming to bolt, but his weight pinned me, solid and real, the faint stubble of his cheek grazing my collarbone. The scent of him, musky sleep and lingering smoke, filled the close space, and for one traitorous heartbeat, I let myself imagine this was ours. Normal, right? Then reality crashed in, a cold wave. He's straight, engaged, my best friend. I shifted slow, easing out from under him, the sleeping bag rustling soft like a guilty secret. He stirred, mumbling something incoherent, eyes fluttering open to slits of green. "Mornin'," he rasped, voice gravelly from sleep, propping up on one elbow with a yawn that stretched his neck long. I busied myself with my boots, laces tangling in my fumbling fingers, the leather creaking under strain. "Coffee," I managed, stepping out into the chill, where mist clung to the ferns like spider silk, beating cold on my skin. The stream gurgled nearby, insistent, washing over pebbles with a liquid hush that drowned my thoughts. Jordan emerged shirtless, gooseflesh rising on his arms, and damn if the sight didn't twist the knife deeper. Broad shoulders dusted with blonde hair, the ridge of his spine like a mountain range I'd never climb. He caught me staring, smirked lazy. "What? See something you like?" Teasing, always teasing. But his eyes held a question, fleeting as a shadow. We broke camp quick, folding tent with snaps of canvas that echoed sharp off the rocks, the air crisp with the tang of wet stone and pine resin. Breakfast was granola bars, crunchy and sweet, crumbs scattering like confetti on the log we perched on. "Today's the big push," Jordan said, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, gaze lifting to the peak shrouded in low clouds. "Summit by noon if we're lucky." Luck? Yeah, right. The trail steepened fast, switchbacks carving into the slope like scars, roots snaking across the path to trip the unwary. My thighs burned, breath coming in puffs that misted white, and sweat trickled salty down my back, soaking my tea. Jordan hiked ahead, pausing to point out a deer track in the mud, his finger tracing the print gentle, voice low with that ranger reverence. "See? She's got a fawn nearby. Circle of life, man." The words landed soft, but they stirred something fierce in me. The fragility of it all, how one misstep could break the herd. We climbed higher, the world dropping away below, valleys unfolding in emerald folds veined with rivers that snaked silver. Eagles wheeled overhead, cries piercing the blue like accusations, and the wind picked up, whipping through the canopy with a low moan that raised hairs on my neck. "Storm brewin'," Jordan noted, squinting at the horizon where clouds boiled dark. Thunder grumbled distant, a belly laugh from the gods, and I shivered, not just from cold. What if the rain came down hard, trapped us up here? What if it washed away the walls I'd built? Midway up, we hit a false summit, a bald knob of granite slick with dew, offering a bench-like outcrop to rest. Jordan dropped his pack with a thud that vibrated through the stone, pulled water from his canteen, the glug loud in the sudden quiet. He offered it to me, our hands brushing again. Deliberate this time? His thumb lingered a fraction too long. Rough pad against my knuckle, and electricity arced, sharp as lightning. I drank deep, water cool and metallic, spilling a drop that traced cold down my chin. He watched, unblinking, and the air hummed, thick with the scent of ozone and crushed wildflowers underfoot. Alex, he started, voice dropping low, serious now. About last night. What I said. My heart stuttered, a skipped beat like a record scratch. Yeah, I prompted, casual as I could, but my voice cracked, betraying me. He rubbed the back of his neck, a telltale sign. Nerves, the one he did before bad news. The wind tugged at his hair, tousling it wild, and a raven croaked overhead, ominous. I meant it, feeling like I'm stuck. You know, Sarah's great, but it's like wearing someone else's skin. Sarah. The name hit like a slap, her face flashing. Laughing at our barbecues, her hand on his knee possessive. Jealousy coiled tight in my gut, sour as unripe berries. What are you saying? I pressed, leaning in despite myself, the rock edge crumbling faint under my boot, pebbles skittering down the cliff with tiny rattles. He met my eyes, raw, unguarded. I'm saying, I don't know who I am anymore. The confession hung, vulnerable, and in that instant the mountain felt infinite, swallowing us whole. Thunder cracked closer, a whip snap that jolted us. Rain spitting first, fat drops that pattered on leaves like impatient fingers. We gotta move, Jordan urged, slinging his pack, but his hand found my shoulder, squeezing once, firm. Gratitude, affection, or something more, bubbling under the surface like the storm? We bolted up the trail, mud sucking at our soles with wet smacks, branches slapping faces with stinging leaves. The downpour hit full, sheets of it sheeting sideways, soaking us through in seconds. Water streamed down my face, mixing with sweat, blurring the world to grays. Jordan's tee clung transparent, outlining every line of him, and I cursed the heat pooling low despite the chill. Faster! He yelled over the roar, grabbing my wrist to yank me over a fallen log, his grip iron, pulse racing under my fingers. The summit loomed through the veil, a jagged crown of rock lashed by wind that howled like banshees. We crested it gasping, collapsing against boulders that bit cold through wet clothes. Lightning forked the sky, illuminating his face, drenched, wild, beautiful. And he laughed, head thrown back, the sound joyous and broken all at once. We made it! Rain lashed us, thunder booming chest deep, and I joined in, hysteria bubbling up, tears mingling with the deluge. But as the storm raged, so did the tempest inside. His hand on my arm, sliding down slow, tentative. Alex? He breathed, voice nearly lost in the gale, eyes locking fierce. The world narrowed to us, rain hammering like a heartbeat, and in that electric pause, I saw it, the mirror of my own hunger, reflecting back. He leaned in, or maybe I did, the line blurring in the chaos. Lips met tentative, salt and rain and desperation, a spark igniting the powder keg. His mouth was warm, urgent, tasting of fear and want, and my hands fisted in his shirt, pulling closer. The kiss deepened, tongues tentative then bold, a groan rumbling from his chest that vibrated through me like thunder. Wind whipped, lightning cracked, but nothing mattered but this. His fingers in my hair, tugging gentle, the press of his body solid against mine. We broke apart gasping, foreheads touching, breaths mingling hot. What the fuck? He whispered, half laugh, half sob, but his eyes burned, alive. Shame flickered, but desire won, pulling us under again, hands roaming slick over chilled skin. The storm peaked, hail pinging off rocks like gunfire, forcing us to huddle in a crevice, bodies entwined for warmth. His heartbeat thrummed against my chest, erratic, and I traced the line of his jaw with trembling fingers, memorizing the rasp of stubble. "Jordan," I started, voice hoarse, but words failed, swallowed by the roar. He silenced me with another kiss, slower now, exploratory, like testing forbidden ground. The mountain trembled under us, or maybe that was just me, fracturing at the seams. Rain eased to drizzle, sky clearing to bruised twilight, and we pulled apart reluctant, the weight of it settling, heavy, irreversible. "We can't," he murmured, but his hand lingered on my thigh, thumb circling slow, contradicting every word. Dusk fell soft, painting the clouds in fire, and we descended silent, the trail slick as betrayal underfoot. Mud squelched with each step, sucking boots greedy, and the air hung damp, scented with petrichor and regret. Camp that night was tense, fire sputtering weak under damp wood, smoke stinging eyes. We avoided touches, but glances lingered, loaded. "This changes everything," Jordan said finally, poking embers with a stick that snapped sharp. I nodded, throat burning, the taste of him still on my lips. "Yeah, it did." And as stars wheeled overhead, cold and distant, the haunting began. Not just the what, but the why. Why now? Why him? Why couldn't I let go? Sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with storms and kisses, waking to his silhouette against the tent wall, sitting up rigid. "Can't sleep," he admitted, voice small in the dark. I shifted closer, our knees brushing, heat sparking despite the chill. "Me neither," confession spilled then, halting. His doubts about Sarah, the pressure of normal. The way he'd caught himself watching me change after swims, curiosity twisting to something deeper. My turn. The years of silence, the ache that hollowed me out. Words tumbled, raw, the air thick with vulnerability, punctuated by sighs that echoed soft. Dawn crept in again, gray and unforgiving, and as we packed, the mountain watched, silent witness to the fracture we'd carved. The second day's descent started heavy, air thick with the aftermath of rain, puddles mirroring the sky's sullen gray. My boots sloshed through muck, each step a suck and release that mirrored the pull in my chest. Wanting to cling, fearing the drop. Jordan hiked ahead, shoulders hunched under his pack. The silence between us stretched taut like a guy line in wind. Last night's storm had cleared the air outside, but inside, it brewed darker, thunderheads of doubt rolling in with every glance stolen. I was still tasting him, phantom salt on my tongue, the ghost of his hands on my hips pressing bruises into memory. We paused at a fork in the trail, map crinkling under Jordan's fingers, the paper damp and curling at edges. "This way's quicker," he said, voice flat, avoiding my eyes as he folded it sharp. The creek beside us rushed fuller now, swollen from the pour, foaming white over boulders with a roar that drowned thought. I nodded, words lodged like stones in my throat, and we veered left, into denser woods where sunlight dappled reluctant through canopy, casting shifting shadows that danced mocking on the forest floor. Ferns brushed wet against legs, leaving trails that chilled skin, and the scent of soaked loam rose earthy, grounding yet suffocating. Half a mile in, he stopped abrupt, back ramrod, staring at a fallen hemlock blocking the path like a deliberate barrier. "Shit," he muttered, kicking a root that thudded dull. I caught up, breath ragged from the uneven ground, roots snagging toes like traps. "We climb over?" My voice came out steadier than I felt, but inside turmoil churned. "Climb over, yeah, like we could just vault this mess between us." He nodded, hoisting himself up first, muscles coiling under wet shirt, bark scraping rough as he swung a leg over. Then his hand extended down, palm up, calluses rough. Come on. I took it, skin sliding slick, and he pulled me up strong, our bodies aligning close for a beat too long, heat flaring despite the damp. We tumbled down the other side together, landing in a heap of limbs and laughter, nervous, edged, the sound bubbling up like relief from a spring. His chest heaved against mine, faces inches apart, breaths mingling warm in the cool shade. You okay? He asked, propping on elbows, green eyes searching, soft with something unnamed. I nodded, but my hand lingered on his arm, thumb tracing a vein that pulsed steady. The moment stretched, electric, until a branch snapped distant. A deer? Or just the woods settling? And we scrambled up, brushing dirt from knees with awkward pats. Let's keep moving, he said, turning quick, but his ears flushed pink, a tell I'd cataloged years ago. The trail leveled out, weaving through rhododendron thickets that arched overhead like green cathedrals, petals dripping residual rain with plips onto leaf litter. Birds resumed their chorus, trills sharp and insistent, mocking our quiet. My mind raced ahead, to the trailhead, the drive home, the inevitable call to Sarah, her voice bright on speakerphone dissecting wedding colors. Jealousy gnawed. Acid, but so did fear. What if he regretted it? What if the mountain's magic faded with altitude, leaving us strangers in flannel? Jordan? I ventured, words tumbling before I could cage them. Last night, the summit. He halted, turning slow, face shadowed by a low branch, expression unreadable. Yeah. One word, loaded, hanging like mist. The air hummed with cicadas now, a low buzz that vibrated through bones. I stepped closer, leaves crunching brittle underfoot, the scent of crushed greenery sharp. Was it real? Or just the storm? Vulnerability cracked my voice, raw as exposed root. He exhaled slow, a sigh that feathered the space between, hand rising hesitant to cup my jaw, thumb brushing my lip tentative. Real as this, he murmured, and kissed me again. Soft this time, exploratory, tasting of trail mix and truth. My knees buckled, hands fisting his shirt, pulling him flush, the world tilting to the rhythm of our breaths, ragged and synced. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, his fingers tangling in my hair, tugging gentle at the nape. God, Alex, I don't know what this is, he confessed, voice breaking on the edge. But it feels like coming home. The words undid me, tears pricking hot, and I laughed wet, the sound muffled against his shoulder as I buried my face there, inhaling the clean sweat of him. We stood tangled like that, time suspending in the dappled light, until hunger gnawed, real stomach clenching, and we shared a protein bar, passing it back and forth, fingers lingering on each handover, chocolate smearing lips we wiped with thumbs that traced too slow. Pressing on, the path dipped into a hollow air cooler, laced with the musty breath of moss-covered rocks. A side trail beckoned to a waterfall we'd scouted on the map, and Jordan's eyes lit, boyish spark returning. Detour? It's not far. I agreed, craving any excuse to stretch this, and we veered off, the roar building ahead like applause. The falls tumbled silver over a sheer drop, mist rising ethereal, rainbow fractured in a stray sunbeam. We stripped to boxers without words, the vulnerability stark. My lean frame marked by desk job softness, his ranger-honed lines etched with trail scars. Water crashed, spray needling skin like icy pins, and we plunged under, gasps echoing sharp. The cold shocked, stealing breath, but his arms wrapped around me from behind, anchoring, chin hooking over my shoulder. Fuck, that's cold, he laughed, teeth chattering against my ear, body heat seeping through the chill. We floated there, currents tugging playful, his hands splaying flat on my chest, fingers exploring tentative. The dip of collarbone, the scatter of chest hair. I turned in his hold, water sluicing between us, and kissed him fierce, the falls drowning our moans in thunder. Lips bruised, tongues battled, hands roamed bold now, mapping territories long denied. He tasted like river and risk, and when his thigh pressed between mine, friction sparking white-hot, I groaned low, the sound lost in the cascade. We surfaced sputtering, climbing slick rocks to a sun-warmed ledge, collapsing in a heap of wet limbs. Steam rose faint from our skin as we dried, towels rough on gooseflesh, and conversation turned deep. His small-town upbringing in Tennessee, whispers of "that's not right" when boys got too close. My Atlanta nights in dimly lit bars, chasing shadows that weren't him. Laughter mingled with sighs, the vulnerability bonding us tighter than rope. "I think I've always known," he admitted, tracing patterns on my thigh with a fingertip, light as breath. "Just scared to name it." Fear echoed in me too, a hollow drum, but here, under the mountain's gaze, it felt conquerable. Afternoon waned, shadows lengthening blue through the trees, and we dressed reluctant, the fabric chafing sensitive skin. Back on the main trail, the air shifted cooler, laced with the promise of evening, fireflies winking early in the understory. My phone buzzed faint in my pack, signal creeping back, Sarah's name flashing insistent. Jordan saw, face tightening, jaw clenching with a click of teeth. "Answer it," he said, voice edged, turning away to fiddle with his laces. I did, heart sinking as her cheer filled the speaker, questions tumbling. "How's the hike?" "Miss you." Lies flowed easy, great, rainy but fun. But each word twisted the knife, guilt blooming hot in my chest. He waited silent as I hung up, then shouldered his pack heavy. "We should talk about after." The words landed leaden, and the trail ahead seemed endless, winding down through twilight's hush. Birds settled in roosts with final chirps, leaves rustling soft like whispers of warning. "Yeah," I agreed, throat dry despite the humidity. "We should." But as dusk deepened, painting the sky in purples and golds, the haunting deepened too, the joy of discovery laced with the dread of dawn, when real life would demand choices sharper than any switchback. Night found us at a lower camp, sight more exposed, wind sighing through open pines like a mournful flute. Fire built easy this time, flames leaping eager on dry tinder, casting flickering gold on our faces. Marshmallows skewered on sticks charred sweet, gooey strings pulling as we bit in, laughter bubbling sticky. But under it, tension simmered, his knee brushing mine deliberate, then pulling away quick, the contact electric. "Tell me something true," he challenged, eyes reflecting firelight, intense. I did. The first time I realized sophomore year watching him score that touchdown, crowd roaring, my cheers choking on something deeper. He listened, head tilted, then shared his, a crush on the lifeguard at summer camp, dismissed as bro stuff until now. Stars blanketed overhead, vast and indifferent, and as embers died to glow, we crawled into the tent, bodies aligning natural now. His head on my shoulder, breath evening slow. "Don't let go," he murmured, half asleep, fingers lacing mine. I didn't, holding tight through the night's rustles. Owls hooting low, branches creaking like old bones. But sleep evaded, mind racing with tomorrows. Confrontations, heartbreaks, the mountain's echo fading. What happened up there? It bound us, yes, but haunts because freedom always comes with a price. Morning light filtered harsh through the tent mesh, stabbing eyes like accusations, and I woke to emptiness. Jordan's sleeping bag zipped cold beside me, the imprint of his body a ghost on the mat. Panic flickered, sharp as a snapped twig, but his voice drifted from outside, low murmur on the phone, words clipped. "Yeah? Babe, tomorrow night. Love you too. Sarah." The name sliced, and I lay still, breath shallow, the nylon walls closing in with the scent of stale sweat and regret. He was straight yesterday. What did that make him now? My lover? My mistake? The zipper rasped open, and he ducked in, face flushed, eyes avoiding mine as he rummaged for socks. Early start, he said, tone brisk, like weather report. Trailhead by lunch. I nodded, swallowing the lump rising bitter, and we packed in syncopated silence. Steaks clinking into packs, tent folding with snaps that echoed too loud. Breakfast was instant oats, steaming in mugs that fogged the chill air, the vanilla packet sweetness cloying on my tongue. Wind gusted playful through the sight, scattering leaves in spirals that danced mocking around our feet, carrying the crisp bite of fallen apples from some wild tree nearby. Beautiful day, Jordan commented, forcing bright. But his smile didn't reach his eyes, shadowed like the hollows under pines. Beautiful? Yeah, if you ignored the fracture lines spiderwebbing between us. The descent quickened, gravity pulling us down faster than up, knees jarring on each root-rutted step, the path a blur of green and brown. Birds flitted bold now, closer to ground, their wings whirring like tiny engines as they snatched insects from the air. Sweat beaded despite the cool, trickling itchy down my spine, and I wiped it with a sleeve that came away damp and dark. Jordan led, pace clipped, pausing only to snap a photo of a trillium bloom, petals white as surrender against mud. For the log, he explained, unnecessary, the click of his phone shutter loud in the hush. I wanted to ask, what are we logging now? Your lips on mine? Or just another hike, bro? A mile in, the trail widened, joining a service road rutted with tire tracks, gravel crunching under boots like teeth on ice. Voices drifted faint. Other hikers, laughter carrying on the breeze, and reality intruded sharp, the bubble we'd hiked into popping with a silent bang. Jordan tensed, shoulders squaring, and I mirrored it, the intimacy of the heights feeling distant, like a dream dissolving in daylight. Group ahead, he warned, low, and we caught up to a family. Dad with the toddler on shoulders, Mom snapping pics, the kids' giggles high and piercing. Mornin', the dad boomed, friendly American drawl, and Jordan responded easy, Ranger charm on autopilot, great day for it, watch for snakes in the leaves. We passed, but the encounter lingered, a reminder of normalcy, of lives without secrets gnawing at the edges. My chest tightened, breath coming shorter, and I lagged, feigning a loose lace to crouch, fingers trembling on the knot. Jordan noticed, circled back, crouching too, his knee brushing mine deliberate, accidental. You all right? Concern creased his brow, hand hovering near my shoulder, heat radiating. I met his gaze, green depths swirling with the same storm. Just processing. He nodded, slow, then squeezed my knee quick, electric. Gone before I could lean in. Me too. One step at a time, yeah. The words comforted, but the road stretched long, leading back to pavement, to choices. Lunch found us at a roadside picnic spot, tailgate down on his truck, the metal warm under our thighs from the sun climbing high. Sandwiches again. Ham this time, bread soft and mayo slick, eaten with the crunch of chips that shattered the quiet. Cars hummed past on the highway below, distant whooshes like sighs of the world resuming, and the valley sprawled lazy, farms dotting quilted fields under a sky scrubbed clean. Remember our first road trip? Jordan mused, popping a chip, salt dusting his lips. I did, spring break, cramped in his old Civic, windows down, radio blasting Tom Petty, his hand on the gearshift inches from mine. Best week ever, I replied, voice thick, and our eyes locked, memory bridging the gap. He shifted closer, thigh pressing solid against mine, the denim barrier thin. Could be again, he whispered, hand finding my thigh under the tailgate's shadow, fingers tracing seams slow, igniting sparks. Heat pooled low, breath hitching audible, and I covered his hand with mine, squeezing urgent. Jordan, warning, plea? The line blurred as he leaned in, lips brushing my ear, breath hot. Missed this already. The kiss that followed was stolen, fierce, tongue sweeping bold, tasting salt and hunger, his free hand cupping my neck, thumb stroking pulse point frantic. Truck cab shadowed us, but risk hummed, cars blurring past, and we broke apart panting, foreheads clumped, grins sheepish. The drive home blurred, miles unspooling under tires that thrummed steady on asphalt. Windows cracked to let in the rush of wind laced with exhaust and wildflowers. Radio played low, Springsteen crooning about highways and heartaches, and Jordan's hand rested on the stick shift, pinky grazing my knee when he shifted gears. Casual touches that built tension like a slow burn. Conversations skirted edges. Work emails piling up, my latest client nightmare sketched in frantic lines. But under it, subtext thrummed. When do we tell? How? My apartment loomed first, Atlanta's sprawl swallowing us in traffic that honked impatient, brake lights bleeding red in the rear view. He pulled up curbside, engine idling rough, the streetlight buzzing overhead like a faulty halo. Dinner tomorrow? He asked, casual but eyes intense, pleading. I nodded, throat tight, and leaned across console, kissing him soft. Good night, promise, anchor. His lips yielded, warm and yielding, a sigh escaping that feathered my cheek. Text me, he murmured, pulling back reluctant, fingers lingering on my jaw. I watched his taillights fade down the block, red eyes in the dusk, and stumbled inside, the door clicking shut like a period. My sketchpad waited on the table, blank, and I picked up pencil, lines flowing furious. His face, storm-tossed, lips parted in that summit gasp. Haunting already, the image stared back, alive. That night, sleep wrestled me. Sheets twisting damp, dreams replaying the falls. Water crashing, his body arching under mine on that ledge, moans echoing eternal. Woke gasping, heart pounding, phone glowing with his text. Can't stop thinking. You. Fingers flew. Same. Sweet dreams. But dreams soured to Sarah's face, her ring glinting accusatory, and guilt coiled tight, a snake in the gut. Morning brought coffee bitter as doubt, steam curling like questions, and work dragged. Pixels blurring on screen, client calls droning. Jordan snapped midday. A summit selfie, us drenched and grinning, captioned, our secret peak. Heart flipped, but reply stuck. What now? Evening crept, city lights flickering on like hesitant confessions, and I met him at our dive bar haunt, neon buzzing cold beer. The scent of fried onions and stale peanuts hitting like nostalgia. He slid into the booth, knee knocking mine under scarred wood, eyes lighting on contact. Missed you, he said simple, hand covering mine brief on the table, thumb stroking knuckle. Beers arrived foamy, condensation beating cold, and talk flowed easy at first. Trail blisters, that ridiculous squirrel. But deepened quick, voices low over the jukebox's twang. Talk to Sarah, he confessed, swirling amber in glass, foam clinging lazy. Told her, need space, think in time. Relief flooded, sharp as the beer's bite, but laced with pity. For her, for the lie we'd become. We left buzzed, street air cooling flushed skin, his arms slung casual over my shoulders as we walked, the weight grounding. My place again, door barely shut before mouths crashed, urgent. Hands fumbling buttons, breaths ragged in the hall. Shirts peeled, skin on skin electric, his mouth hot on my neck, teeth grazing collarbone with a nip that drew gasp. Bed? I managed, stumbling back, his laugh low against my throat. Sheets tangled cool, bodies aligning fevered, explorations bold. Fingers tracing scars, lips mapping freckles, moans punched from lungs. He moved sure, attentive, eyes locked fierce through the dim. Sweat slicking us as rhythm built, crashing together in waves that left us shattered, spent. After, tangled in damp linens, his head on my chest, heartbeat sinking slow, the quiet settled heavy. This is us now, he whispered, fingers lacing mine, voice tentative. I kissed his hair, inhaling shampoo and salt, but doubt whispered too. What if morning brought retreat? The city hummed outside, sirens wailing distant, a reminder of worlds colliding. Haunting wasn't just the mountain. It was this fragile now, teetering on the edge of forever or fracture. Weeks blurred into a fevered dream of stolen hours, Atlanta's humid haze mirroring the steam between us. Thick, unrelenting, threatening to drown. Jordan's texts lit my phone like flares in the night. Park after shift? Or your place 10? Each ping pulled me under, heart racing anticipatory. Sketches piling unfinished on my desk. Lines dissolving into his silhouette. Work suffered. Deadlines whooshed past. Boss's emails sharpening like switchblades. But who cared when his truck rumbled up curbside? Headlights cutting fog. His grin flashing wolfish in the dash glow? One night, mid-November, leaves carpeting sidewalks in brittle crimson. We met at Piedmont Park. Benches slick with recent rain. The air sharp with wood smoke from distant chimneys. He waited under the oak, collar popped against chill. Hands shoved deep in jeans pockets. Stance loose but eyes hungry. "Come here," he growled soft as I approached, pulling me into shadows, mouth claiming fierce. Tongue demanding, hands framing face. Thumbs smudging lip gloss I hadn't worn but felt anyway. The kiss bruised, wind tugging coats. Distant joggers' footfalls fading as world narrowed to his taste. Beer and pine, mountain echo. We walked paths lit by sodium lamps buzzing orange. Fingers brushing tentative then lacing bold. The contact sparking through gloves. Lake shimmered black, ducks quacking lazy. And he stopped at the water's edge, arms snaking my waist possessive. "Feels right," he murmured, breath fogging glass-clear night. Stars pricking velvet overhead like needle points. I leaned into him, stubble rasping my temple, inhaling wool and want. "Yeah." But undercurrent tugged, Sarah's shadow, his ringless finger a temporary truce. Her texts he'd shown me once, pleading, "What's wrong, baby?" Guilt gnawed, but desire devoured it, hot and immediate. Back at mine, door slamming echoey, we shed layers frantic. Coats pooling on floor like discarded skins. Boots kicked haphazard, thudding against baseboards. Kitchen light harsh, casting long shadows as he pressed me against counter. Hips grinding deliberate, eliciting groan low from throat. "Want you?" he breathed, voice gravel. Hands roaming under shirt, palms rough on ribs, thumbs circling nipples to peaks. I arched, head thumping cabinet with dull thunk. Fingers clawing his belt, leather creaking protest. Jeans pooled ankles, boxers tented urgent. And he dropped to knees, gaze up locked, vulnerable, fierce. Mouth hot and wet enveloping, tongue swirling devastating. Gasps punched air, counter edge biting palms white-knuckled. His hum vibrating core deep, building coil tight. "Jordan, fuck." Words fragmented. Hips bucking involuntary, his hands steadying thighs, bruises blooming under grip. Release crash tidal, stars bursting behind lids clenched, body shuddering wave after. He rose slow, lips glistening, kiss sharing salt self, tender now, foreheads pressed damp. "Your turn?" I whispered, sinking, reciprocating with reverence. His sighs ragged, fingers threading hair tugging. The vulnerability in his parted lips undoing me deeper than lust. Bed claimed us after, sheets cool on fevered skin, bodies entwining lazy, explorations shifting soft, kisses trailing spine, fingers ghosting hip bones, whispers weaving dark. "Never felt this," he confessed, voice muffled against pillow, arm banded round waist possessive. Sleep took him easy, breaths evening rhythmic. But I lay wakeful, ceiling fan whirring soft overhead, mind churning. This bliss, fragile as frost on glass, one crack from shattering. Morning brought his alarm blaring country rock, groan muffled as he silenced it. Body curling spoon close, morning would pressing insistent. 5 more minutes, he mumbled, nuzzling neck, stubble tickling. We indulged, hands wandering slow, reigniting embers to flame, lazy thrusts building to crescendo hushed, gasps swallowed in kisses. Coffee brewed aromatic, mugs steaming on counter as we dressed, ties loosening inevitable. Shift starts soon, he said, regret lacing, pecking cheek quick. Door click echoed hollow, truck rumbling away, leaving silence ringing. My sketchpad called, pencil flying. His profile in dawn light, eyes half-lidded post-climax, capturing the haunting beauty. Joy laced terror, love shadowed loss. Days stacked, routine fracturing. Dinners at greasy spoons, booths our confessional, forks scraping plates as confession spilled. His first fumbling with a guy in college, drunk and dismissed. My parade of almosts, none measuring to him. But cracks widened. Sarah's calls escalating. Voicemails pleading tear-choked. Talk to me, Jay. He played one for me once. Face crumpling. Hand trembling on phone. Gotta end it proper, he decided. Voice steel over pain. And I nodded support, heart twisting vicarious. The night he did, post-shift, he showed unannounced. Rain-slicked, eyes red-rimmed, collapsing on my couch with a sob that wrenched gut. It's done, he choked. Face-buried hands, shoulders shaking silent. I held him wordless, rocking gentle, his tears hot on shirt, the scent of wet wool and whiskey faint on breath. Storm outside mirrored inside, thunder rumbling gut deep, lightning strobing room blue-white. Hate huttin' her, he whispered, voice raw, fingers clutching mine vice. But can't pretend anymore. Truth landed heavy, but freeing. And as rain hammered windows relentless, we shifted, comfort to consolation. Lips meeting salt stung, hands soothing to seeking. Lovemaking that night was tender, unhurried, bodies mapping hurts, kisses healing fractures, sighs mingling with sobs fading. He came undone slow, face-buried neck, murmur love you, gasped against skin, first time voiced, shattering walls. Echoed back, the words freed something primal, thrusts deepening anchoring, release shared shuddering, clinging as if world ending. After, tangled sweat cooled, his head pillowed chest, heartbeat sinking lullaby, storm easing to patter soft. We're okay, I murmured, fingers combing damp hair, and he nodded sleep-slurred. Yeah, us. Dawn crept gray, coffee shared black and silent. His kiss goodbye lingering, promise-laden. But haunting lingered too, her pain a ghost between sheets, the mountains whisper. All peaks descend, joy's price etched in valleys. Holiday lights twinkled early, Atlanta gearing festive, air crisp with cinnamon from street vendors. But our bubble held, Thanksgiving dodged with family trips. Really cabin rentals in North Georgia, fireplaces crackling resinous, bodies warming furs. One eve, snow dusting rare, we hiked local trail, boots crunching crust, breaths clouding white. Summit small, view city sprawled twinkling. He dropped pack, pulled ring box, empty silver band glinting palm. Hers, he said simple, hurling it arc into dark, clink lost in wind. Freedom symbolized, arms wrapping tight, kiss fierce against chill, world below irrelevant. But return brought collision, mutual friend barbecue, air thick grill smoke and laughter forced. Sarah there, hollow-eyed, avoiding eyes, her new date hovering awkward. Tension crackled, polite nods knives, and Jordan's hand found mine under table, squeeze fierce. Proud of you, I whispered later. Drive home silent but charged, his nod tight-jawed. Night dissolved barriers, fucking urgent against wall, grunts echoing hall, reclaiming amid chaos. Haunting evolved not just what happened but what followed. Love's forge hammering raw to resilient if we endured the heat. Winter clamped Atlanta in rare frost, breath fogging car windows like secrets veiled, and our rhythm steadied, mornings tangled in my bed. his shift starting with coffee kisses, steam-curling mugs as lips brushed foam sweet. Jordan's apartment became our slow, unpacked boxes yielding to shared shelves. His Ranger manuals beside my sketchpads, flannel mingling hoodies in closet. But normalcy chafed edges, friends' sidelong glances at gatherings, whispers trailing like smoke. Heard about Sarah and Alex. Isolation crept, cozy at first, then claustrophobic, walls closing with each dodged invite. One January night, ice storm glazing streets silver slick, power flickered out, candles guttering wax tears on saucers. We huddled couch, blankets fortified, his body heat soul warmth, arms banded tight. Tell me a story, he murmured, lips nuzzling ear, breath tickling fine hairs. I wove mountain tale anew, our summit, but fantastical. Peaks breathing alive, winds confessing hidden loves. He laughed low, vibrations rumbling chest, hands sliding thigh-ward, fingers dancing hems teasing. Make it dirtier, he challenged, voice husky, nipping lobe sharp, tail twisted erotic, words painting touches phantom. Building till he pounced, blankets tumbling, bodies colliding fervent on rug-rough floor. Candles danced shadows elongated on walls, flickering like heartbeats erratic, his mouth charting territory anew. Trailing sternum, tongue dipping navel, eliciting arch and gasp punched. Like that, he growled, eyes up gleaming mischief, hands pinning wrists overhead playful. Retaliation swift, flipping positions, my turn exploring. Teeth grazing inner thigh, his hiss sharp, hips bucking urgent. Rhythm built primal, grunts mingling with wind's howl outside, ice cracking branches staccato. Climax shattered synchronized, cries echoing room, bodies collapsing spent, laughter bubbling aftershocks. Power surged back mid-February, lights buzzing harsh, but we lingered dim, preferring glow personal. Valentine's amateur, store-bought chocolates melting sticky fingers, fed playful, licks cleaning deliberate slow. Cheesy, he teased, but eyes soft, pulling me close sway to radio static croon. Dance dissolved bed ward, love-making languid, kisses lingering, hands reverent, whispers mine gasped against skin. After, tracing tattoos faint on his shoulder, Ranger badge inked bold. I confessed fear low. What if it fades? The high. He stilled, fingers stilling hip circle, then met gaze steady. Then we climb again, together. Spring thawed guarded, Pride Month looming, rainbows fluttering shop windows taunting. Jordan tense news mentions, jaw-ticking TV remote clicks, old doubts resurfacing like weeds. Not ready public, he admitted one eve, porch swing creaking under weights, air heavy jasmine bloom. I nodded understanding, but ache bloomed chest hollow. Hidden love, half-life. Your pace? I assured, hand squeezing knee, but nights after, sleep evaded, ceiling stairs cataloging cracks. Crisis peaked April, mutual friend wedding, Kentucky Drive, highways unspooling green, radio filling silences strained. Venue lush, vines draping arbors white, air sweet peony. Vows exchanged tear glistened, rings sliding symbolic, and Jordan fidgeted seat, tie choking, palms sweat slick mine under tablecloth. Receptions swirled champagne fizzy, dances swirling skirts, his invite declined polite. Later, but eyes tracked couples envious. Our turn, I joked light, masking hurt, but he paled, glass clinking set down hard. Too soon, muttered, excusing to porch, night air cooling flushed cheeks. Followed quiet, finding him rail leaned, stars overhead indifferent. Sorry, he started voice cracking. It's real, but scary. Arms wrapped from back, chin shoulder resting, inhaling his cologne woodsy. I know, just want the world to see us. Honesty raw, tears pricking shared, and he turned, kiss desperate, tongue seeking anchor, hands framing face urgent. Car ride home blurred tears and talks. Miles therapy. Arriving dawn dusted, bodies crashing door banged, reaffirming frantic. Clothes shredded hall trail, wall braced thrusts punishing, moans bruising lips. Love you, panted between. Always, echoed back. Release cathartic, washing doubts temporary. Summer scorched, heat waves shimmering asphalt wavy, and we escaped weekends. Lake house borrowed, water lapping dock lazy, bodies slick sunscreen shared. One afternoon, sun hammering relentless, we swam nude, splashes echoing cove private. His laugh booming as he dunked me, water streaming lashes. Surface sputtering, tackling back, tangle playful turning heated. Legs wrapping waist, friction underwater building, gasps bubbling surface. Shore dragged, towels spread sandrough, lovemaking exposed. Sun baking skin golden, waves lulling rhythm, his eyes locked worshipful through haze. Beautiful, murmured Post, fingers sand-dusted tracing jaw, and vulnerability cracked. Scared I'll lose this. Haunting resurfaced, mountains shadow lengthening. Nights he'd wake sweating, nightmares of judgment, small-town echoes, clinging tight wordless. I'd soothe whispers, hands stroking back soothing circles, but fear infected, my sketches darkening. Faces blurred accusation, peaks crumbling. July 4th, fireworks bursting skyflower. We watched roof perched, his head lap pillowed, fingers combing hair gentle. Boom rattled chest deep, colors painting faces fleeting, and he sat abrupt. Let's do it, tell them. Heart leaped, kiss fireworks rivaling, but caution tempered. Sure, nod firm. For us. Coming out cascaded. Texts first, careful. Important talk soon. Parents calls scripted shaky. His ma's pause eternal post confess. Then hug voice tear choked. Love you son. Always. Mine easier Atlanta liberal but friends mixed. Some cheers embracing, others distance cool, fading echoes. Work whispers, but designs poured freer. Colors vibrant his inspired. Pride parade joined tentative. Rainbows draped, crowds chanting pulse blood. His hand mine squeezed white-knuckled amid chaos. Proud? I yelled over bass thump, and grin broke wide. Tears mixing sweat, bodies pressed surge close. But not seamless. Barbs hurled strangers. Fags hissed alley dark, his flinch gut punch. Home safe, anger vented thrusts angry. Reclaiming power tangled sheets, grunts exorcising. Worth it? He panted after, forehead kiss soft, and yes, but haunting deepened. Joys cost vigilance eternal, love's peak demanding constant climb. Fall approached, leaves turning fire, mirroring burn within resilient, but scarred, the mountain's lesson etched. What haunts isn't the summit, but the courage sustaining it. Autumn winds stripped trees bare, leaves skittering gutters like frantic thoughts, and our life settled textured. Dates public now, hands laced bistro walks, waitstaff smiles knowing without pity. Jordan's promotion ranger lead meant badges polished, shifts longer, but homecoming sweeter. Door opens to his missed you, tackle hugs spinning dizzy, laughter bubbling kitchen floored. Dinner's experimental. My stir-fries spicy his tweaked, plates clinking toasts. To us, nights varied, candlelit slow, massages oil slick turning heated, or rushed post-shift, uniforms half on, counterperched urgent. But undercurrent stirred, his ex's orbit, mutual circles tightening awkward. One night, bar trivia team, Sarah appeared uninvited, date arm-linked, eyes skimming ours cool. Air thickened beer fog, questions faltered laughs forced, her laugh tinkling sharp over dice rolls. Jordan tense thigh under table squeeze mine grounding, but post-round, she cornered porch lit. Happy for you? Voice tight, hug stiff. He nodded throat bobbed. Thanks. Sorry again. She fled tears glimpsed, and drive home silent heavy. His should have blocked, muttered wheel grip white. Home dissolved tension. Shower steam veiled. Body soaping sudsy. Kisses washing residue. Bed reclaiming gentle. Whispers past. Moans present anchored. Haunting morphed seasonal. Thanksgiving family merge. Tables groaning turkey golden. His ma's pie crust flaky. Questions probing gentle. Plans. Forks scraped plates evasive. But acceptance warmed. Toasts clinking genuine. Mine easier. Urban mix. Rainbow flags casual. But depth tested. Dad's pat back awkward. Love's love. Tears pricked covert. Jordan's hand under table lifeline. Holiday hike echoed original. Appalachian chill nipping. Packs lighter hearts heavier meaning. Summit same. Views vast. But embrace open. Arms wrapped vista facing. Wind whipping scarves. Kiss unhurried world witnessed. Full circle. He murmured. Nose nuzzling cold pink. And yes, haunt healed to hallowed. Winter circled again. Holidays twinkling resilient. But test brewed subtle. His wanderlust stirred. Park transfers whispered. Yellowstone call. Vast wilds promising. Adventure. He enthused maps spread. Fingers tracing routes eager. But eyes flicked mine hesitant. With you. Assured. But doubt seated. Distance test fidelity? Nights after. Lovemaking edged desperate. Nails raking backs red. Bites marking collar claim. Climaxes clung to fierce. Stay. Unspoken plea panted. But opportunity gleamed. Career leap. Decision weekend cabin retreat. Snow blanketing silent. Fire crackling resin pop. Debates wind deep. Pros crisp badges. Cons miles yawning. Miss this. He confessed dawn bed. Bodies spooned frost-edged. Hands splayed belly possessive. Us. Resolution brewed slow. Defer year. Build roots. House hunt tentative. Realtor tours echoing steps future. Offer accepted spring. Keys jingling promise. Boxes migrating chaotic laughs. First night unpacked. Pizza boxes floor picnic. Love-making christening counters, walls, floors, echoes marking territory hours. Summer bloomed domestic. Yard weeded joint. Sweat shared hose sprays playful. Turning wrestling wet grass. Fights sparked petty. Dishes stacked accusatory. Socks trail floored. But resolved heated. Arguments dissolving makeup sex couch dented. Apologies gasped rhythm synced. Friends integrated slow. Doubles dates barbecues grill smoke laced. Toasts evolving to love. Pride annual boulder. Floats waving us aboard. Chants throat aching. His whoop mind matching. Hands raised unity fist. But haunting crested fall. Anniversary mountain return. Same trailhead dawn lit. Packs familiar weighted. Steps synced memory. Ascent stirred ghosts. Kisses stolen switchbacks. Laughs echoing birdsong. Summit evoked visceral. Storm absent, but emotion thundered. Bodies reclining rockwarm. Hands entwined vista gazing. Still haunts, he admitted soft. Thumb circling palm crease. But good kind now. Kiss sealed. Sun dipping gold. Descent hand-laced unhurried. Challenges layered. Job crunch mine. Deadlines guillotining sleep. Sketches frantic night lampied. His overtime patrols. Radio crackle bedside intruder. Strain frayed tempers. Words snapped wire taut. Need space. Yelled hall echoed. Door slam punctuation. Alone couch curled. Regret nod. Texts unsent drafts. Sorry. Reconciliation dawn return. His key turn hesitant. Eyes red sleep deprived. Fucked up. Mutual, arms colliding forgiveness. Bed mending slow. Touches tentative healing. Kisses rebuilding trust. Dawn light forgiving. Earmarked. Rings considered casual. Jeweler window gawked. Silver bands glinting vow-like. Someday, he said finger-twined, and someday shimmered possible. Haunting transformed. Not trauma, but talisman, mountain medallion worn chain clothes, touchstone trials. Love's narrative arced, peaks valleys navigated, resilience forged fire-tested. Seasons wheeled inexorable, our story etching deeper grooves, house walls photos framed, summit selfies grinning defiant, lake dips splashing joy, pride crowds blurred motion, Jordan's transfer deferred permanent, roots delving soil hours, garden planted joint, tomatoes vine climbing, herbs fragrant thumb crush, mornings routine poetic, coffee brewed duel, mugs clink counter, kisses sleepy lipped parting shifts, nights varied canvas, date films indie flicked, hands popcorn shared, or home-cooked steak sizzle char, wines swirled confessions. But life's underbelly stirred. Health scare his, patrol slip ankle sprained, crutches thumping domestic discordant. Care reversed, me bandaging tender, ice packs held lap perched, his grumbles melting gratitude kisses. Hate dependin', admitted pillow propped, but eyes shone vulnerable trust. Recovery hiked slow. Local paths limped, progress mile markers. Summit small victories celebrated bed toasts. Bodies adapting creative. Positions propped pillow, laughs gasping pleasure pain. Anniversary second, mountain pilgrimage ritual, trail familiar friend. Each switchback story chapter. Pack lighter, hearts heavier history. Summit lunch spread. Sandwiches wax crinkled echo, but toasts champagne fizzy. To haunts conquered, embrace lingered sun warmed, whispers future plotted, travels dreamed, Europe cobbled, Asia peaks rival, descent hand-laced, world below welcoming changed. Friends circle expanded inclusive, new couples matched hikes, bar nights trivia triumphs, Sarah faded graceful, occasional nods healing, family folds warmed. His ma visits pie-bearing, hugs enveloping boys fond. Mine barbecues grill-mastered, toasts inclusive. Challenges communal, fundraisers park-raised. His speeches mic-gripped eloquent, pride swelling chest mine. Crests personal. My exhibit gallery hung, sketches mountain mused. Abstracts emotion swirled, his face subtle veiled. Critics praising raw intimacy. Opening night bow-tied, his suit sharp-pressed, hand low-back supportive, whispers stunning ear-nipped proud, sales champagne bubbled, but richest validation his gaze, home return frame-hung bedroom sentinel. Jordan's book pitched, Ranger Tales woven personal, Trails of Self, titled poignant, drafts shared firelit, feedback gentle penciled, publication deal inked champagne popped. Launch signing cued fans eager. His reads voice gravel storyteller. Dedications mine first. To the man who summit my heart. Tears pricked public. Kiss chased public but heat promised. Years layered. Rings exchanged quiet courthouse. Vows handwritten tear-blotted. Through every storm. Rings simple gold. Engraved peak and valley. Worn constant touchstone. Honeymoon hiked Pacific crest, trails new echoing old, summits shared star-blanketed, bodies trail-worn loving fervent. Return life resumed textured, adoptions pondered, kids dream trail-taught. Haunting final form, not regret, but reverence. Mountain metaphor life lived, rises falls navigated love leavened. What happened there? Catalyst cracked shells, birthed us bold. Echoes linger sighs remembered, but joy predominates. Dawns shared, hands aged laced, stories retold fire warmed. Decades hence, gray threaded hair, trails gentler paced, summit benches claimed, views timeless. Still haunts, he teases breath wheezed, hand gnarled mind squeezing, eyes green faded but fierce. Best ghost ever, retort kissed wrinkled. Sunset gilding us eternal. Meaning? Love's not conquest, but companionship. Climbing tandem, vistas shared, even descends hand-holden. And in that, peace profound, haunting harmonized to him.